this Patrik Laine story
seems to be
is a fascinating one for me.
Well, it seems to be. I mean, last year it seemed like there was smoke and some fire. I think I even said this on the show where you have to go and trade for Matt Hendricks at the deadline like that. You're not trading for the player. You're trading for the personality, the calming presence. It seemed like there was a massive disconnect between older and new in that dressing room and in that organization. Sounds like that's what it is. It sounds like Patrik Laine needs his ass kicked and needs to grow up.
He comes off as soft as butter. Soft as butter.
So don't you like sniff around and say, what do you want?
Well,
and I said last week on That's Hockey with Gino, it's like, you can't trade him. He's the next Ovechkin.
Well, that's right. He's 50 goals. Like, that's 50 goals.
That's what he is. He's 50-goal guy.
But at what cost? And how does that...
But if he's spouting off saying, well, you know...
Well, let me read this quote.
Who I play with, and, like, I don't pick that. And
Let me read this quote. This is a guy, 50-goal guy, had 50 points a year ago. 50 points.
Yeah.
Looked lazy a lot of times last year. And is coming off as unlikable, quite frankly. If I'm in Winnipeg, I'm starting to wonder, A, if he wants to be here.
Okay, I agree
B,
with
if
that.
he's got it. But here's what he said. Laine was talking with a media outlet in Finland, and he said, quote, and this was in Finnish.
Right.
So it might have been the old, it's not going to get, no, it might have been the old, it'll stay here, right? It's not going to be Google Translate and make it back to Canada. Well, it did. This is what Laine said. Quote, when you're having contract negotiations, one thing always is, who are you playing with? With the merits I have, somewhere else I'd have an opportunity to play with the best players. Everybody who understands hockey knows that. There are top lines, and then there is our line, but I play with the guys I'm told to play with, end quote.
That is a damning comment, by the way.
That's basically saying Brian Little's a plug, and I can't believe I got to play with this guy.
Yeah. That's right.
Like,
and Nikolai Ehlers.
Mm-hmm. And those are
it's like
two very good
Scheifele
players.
or Wheeler or nothing.
But that's... I don't mind saying I want to play with. I mean, we went through this here in Toronto. By all accounts, it was Austin saying, okay, move one player off my line. We don't know, potentially. John Tavares signs here. I want to play with Mitch Marner. Like, you have a wish list. I don't disagree
with that. But not publicly.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
That's the difference, is this guy is not in a position to be making demands. Now, we have to be careful. 50 points on a dreadful season. This is a guy who scored 33 years in a row in his sleep. Like this, 44, 36, and 30. Like this guy, if he matures, which at some point he's going to grow up. Like we forget they're just young kids and everyone arrives at a different spot. He's going to look back and say, yeah, I think I did some things poorly. That's where it's up to that group and that leadership group in Winnipeg to go, hey, we're going to try and show you the way here. And I'm sure there were probably potentially a couple code reds involved there because this kid doesn't seem to get it.
Well, Blake Wheeler is bending over backwards to convince them that they love him, support him, and...
Guy scored on himself 2 years ago. Blake Wheeler was right there with his arm around him.
Right.
You guys remember that? That one-timer into the net?
Edmonton.
But who knows what's going on behind the scenes? Only Laine knows that, the Jets and all that. But to publicly go out and be like, I can't believe I'm playing with these guys.
Poor judgment.
Anywhere else, I'd be on the top line, but I guess I have to do this. Look yourself in the mirror. 50 points.
That would be exit, like you're gone.
I don't think they're going to do that, but...
That's the one thing. You got to be careful.
You got to be careful because you don't want to just get rid of a talent because you're spiteful.
You know what it's like to go back into a locker room. How is it going to be like bringing him back into a locker room?
That's going to be tough. That has to be tough.
Like I just said the comment, tough to bring him back. Look at that dynamic. Bringing him back and looking at Brian Little saying, oh, what, you can't play with me?
Well,
you don't want to?
You're right. But
that's a big thing, man.
Do you not expect within a day there will be a retraction going lost?
I didn't say that. I would suspect.
The Louis Erickson
I never buy that. I never buy that.
No, this is the real comment.
You said it and you meant it, and stop it.
This is the real comment right here.
But I'm just saying, I believe there will be some maneuvering PR to get around that. Because you're right. You don't want to walk back. If he ends up signing tomorrow, you've got to walk back in that dressing room and go, hey,
Brian
sorry,
Little,
Nikolai,
how's it
sorry,
going?
Brian. Like, you know what?
Nikolai Ehlers, how's it going? I'm your right winger.
And those guys are, like, that Ehlers is a really good player. He's a 60-point guy. Like, he's a good player. Like they didn't put him with Matt Hendricks on the fourth line. They should have at times because of his effort, because of his dedication to defense. There were times where I think Paul Maurice was with kid gloves with him, trying to bring him along, build up his confidence. It's a real spicy meatball because this guy is, in the right scenario,
he's uber talented.
But at what point do you go, this isn't working?
There are some red flags. Like, he's got kind of a nonchalant attitude to begin with, or he pushes that on people. It feels that way. And now he's like, why am I playing with these guys? I could be a number one player anywhere else in the league or on a number one line. These are dangerous comments, and he's still negotiating.
Right.
He's still negotiating a new deal with Winnipeg, but we'll see where that relationship goes.